What is going on, you beautiful people? It is Trelli here, and today I'm going to be bringing you the top 5 tips to improve in ranked Joust from a Grandmaster perspective. Now, I know that's a long title. I'll probably find a way to short it in the title of some sort because it's a mouthful. But basically, Season 8 is coming out. Season 7 has 3 to 4 days left if you're watching this at the time of it being uploaded. And the most common question that I get asked in my ranked Joust streams in particular, twitch.tv/trellirelli if you are interested, is how do I get better? How do me and my friends improve? Can you have any quick tips for us? Stuff like that. And I usually don't have an answer for them because honestly, it's second nature to me at this point. I've been Grandmaster since the game started, since this game mode came out. I've always been playing this game mode, and it all seems like common knowledge to me. But then I thought about it for a second, and there are a lot of things that I see a lot of people in the casuals and in just playing through the lower ranks, that they don't do these things and they don't know these things. So I figured I should try to make a video trying to show some people just a few tips to help improve their gameplay and their teamwork as a squad. So if you are interested, keep watching and definitely leave a like and subscribe if you like Joust content. I try to upload daily with a little bit of differential here and there. But besides that, top 5 tips to improve. Let's go. Okay, number 5 is going to be knowing your build / power spikes. Now, what is a power spike? So if you're unfamiliar, a power spike is basically when your build gets to a point where it evolves, essentially. When you finish an item and boom, now I have big damage. So, for example, if you finish a big penetration item like flat pen, that's when you can really kill squishies. So if you finish a Spear of the Maggots, a Spear of Desolation, a first item, now you have flat pen, the squishies don't have defense. This is a big power spike for you. This is when you can start killing. Let's say you get Soul Reaver or Obsidian Shard. Now you have a lot of percent penetration. This is a big moment where you can kill tanks. These are power spikes, and you have to know when your power spikes in your build are, so you don't try to all in a tanky Kuzumbo and you don't have percentage pen, and boom, you threw everything, you lost, and now you lost your game, and you're wondering why. Well, it's because you didn't know your power spike. So, where are your power spikes? So, I've found 3 to pinpoint to really improve your fights when you can think about these power spikes. So the most important ones that you need to be building accordingly are the level 5 power spike at 2 minutes for red buff. Oh, Jesus Christ. So number 1 is the level 5 power spike. Now this is when everyone gets their ultimates at level 5. This is at red buff. If you're unfamiliar, red buff spawns at 2 minutes. So if you get your blue buff, your speed buff, 2 of the archers, or of the little XP camps, and then red buff, you hit level 5, assuming you get all the waves and you don't miss any creeps like that. The first person to get the red buff is going to get level 5. So if your team doesn't get it, you need to back up. This is something that I see a lot of people do. They stand up and try to commit to this red buff, and it's a 50-50. If the other team gets it, they hit level 5, you get hit with a Scylla ult, a Thoth ult, a friggin' Poseidon ult, right when you're expecting nothing and you're level 4. You're going to lose the game off that. You're not just going to lose the red buff. So you have to know when you're going to hit level 5. That's the biggest and most important power spike of the game, in my opinion. So what we like to do, me specifically in my most recent videos, if you've seen, I've been starting Mage's Blessing, Tier 1 boots, and a health potion. And I still have like 350 gold left, and I never spend that gold. And a lot of people ask me, what am I doing? So basically, if you get all those camps, like I said, you do your speed, you do your blue, you do the wave, you do an XP camp. At this point, right at a minute 40, you can buy full boots for that red buff fight. You back, get your full boots, come back to red, and now you have full boots and a Mage's Blessing. You're going to be hitting harder than anyone on the map, essentially, because they're not going to have full boots. They'll have tier 2 boots. They'll have lots of potions. Maybe they haven't even backed yet. This is my point. A lot of people don't know when level 5 power spike is. They know it's about 2 minutes, but they don't know when they're going to hit it. If you can calculate when exactly you're going to hit this and when you're going to get this big buff, you can really force the issue and kill them right when you get the red buff, and you'll have as much power as you can to do it. You'll have the 75 power boots, Mage's Blessing. And if you're a tank, it works the same way. You can get reinforced greaves, cooldown boots, purple boots, anything. So just make sure you know when you're going to be pressuring at level 5. And remember, if you get these camps, if you get your XP camps, they get their XP camps, and you get the mid camps, the ones that are contestable, you will still hit 5 first. So remember that. All right, so that was the power spike if you have Mage Guardian. Now, what happens if you pick a Hunter? Now, this is a little bit different, and a lot of people have asked me why Hunters have fallen out of the meta, and it's very simple. Hunters do not have the same power spikes. Hunters need about 3 or 4 items before they really start chunking, as opposed to mages that can really chunk with 2. So hunters need like boots, Ichival, Aussie, Kins. That's when they really start to do things in this game mode, except for Onher, he's an exception. He has built-in penetration. But besides that, these are the power spikes you're going to be looking for as a hunter when you get these 4 items online. This is why most hunters are not even played anymore, because they really have little significance in the match until they get these items online. So I just wanted to throw that in there. If you are picking a hunter, you are not going to want to be looking to fight these double tank comps until you get some shred online, until you get 3 or 4 items. And the last exception to this rule I wanted to mention is stance switcher gods. So at level 5, and you're an Uller, an RDO, a Tyr, a Hell, you're really not getting too many buffs here. Your level 5 is not going to be that insane, but what's good about these characters is they're pre-level 5. So at level 3, you know, you have, if you're Scylla, you've got your 2, your 1, and your 3. You know, you got a little clear ability, an escape, and a root, and a cripple. Pretty cool, huh? Well, what about Uller? He's got 4 abilities at level 3, and if you start putting a point, you're 2, you get 5, but you get you 6, but you get what I'm saying. He has a lot more abilities, and this is when you want to pressure. So if you have an RDO or an Uller or a Hell, you're not going to want to wait until level 5 to fight. You really want to force your pressure early, because at level 5, nothing happens. At level 5, they get a Poseidon crack, and what do? You get some MP5. So you just want to remember what your team comp can do and when it needs to force the issue. That's all this tip is saying. Okay, number 4 is going to be know who to target. So basically what this means is, who are you going on, when are you going on them, and what's your plan here. So one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of people think that the squishy, you know, the mage in these sort of comps is going to be your target all the time, and most of the time this is true. Killing the mage early game is always the best idea, because they only have 1 relic, they only have 1 escape usually. It's pretty easy to focus them out. This is going to be your target. But what about level 5? So level 5, a lot of people do they have their tank up front, right? So if you have a Kabrakan, and I'm level 5, and I have an Ares, a Poseidon, and some sort of random warrior, let's say Achilles. If you have a Kabrakan who doesn't get beads, which most people don't, and you should, by the way, but most people don't, you are going to die at level 5, guaranteed, if we play this right. If I'm going to blink Ares ult you, hit you with a Kraken, and execute you, we use 3 ults for 1 kill, but we don't have to fight until our ults are back up. This is a clean kill. Now, you could ult the mage in the back, but they have beads, so this is my whole point. If you look at the enemy tank and see what they build and see who they are, most of these like high pressure tanks are pretty easy to kill early game. Your Yamojas, your Kabrakans, Ganesha, just off the top of my head, Ares. All of these tanks can be sitting ducks if you just wait for like 1 or 2 of their abilities to be down. Tanks are great to focus early as long as they didn't finish Gauntlet of Thebes or Reinforced Greaves. These are both like really tanky items. So if you do notice that they have finished these, definitely don't throw everything into them unless you have a comp that's built to kill them. But these level 5 tanks die really easily. So I think that early game, it's pretty easy to kill the Guardian. And then late game, that's when you want to be focusing your mages, keeping track of their relic timers, and focusing them out with your abilities. Okay, so tip number 3 is going to be don't solo queue / communicate with your team. So obviously a lot of people come to me and say, hey, I solo queue all my ranked Joust games. Do you have any tips for me? And my number 1 tip for them is stop. You are not doing yourself any favors by solo queuing. And I know you could just say, Trelli, I don't have any friends. You don't need friends to solo queue, okay? I mean, to not solo queue. You don't need a 1,000 person friend list to have someone to queue Joust with. What I recommend, if you are solo queuing, this is going to be real quick, if you're solo queuing and you're playing Joust all day and you're just losing all day, play for a bit and then find some people that are duo queuing, because eventually you'll run into them. You'll run into some duo queues because you'll get queued with 2 people and you'll be by yourself, and invite them and then start playing with them. Because you are not doing yourself any favors. You're not improving with your squad if you're just solo queuing. You're going to learn how to play in that specific game, and then boom, next game you could get some toxic teammates and you're just going to want to quit playing. So find yourself a group, and if you can't do it, do what I just said. Solo queue ranked Joust, invite the people after the game that play well. Anyways, communicate with your team. Once you've done that and you have your 3-man, you need to communicate. I'm not talking about the smite in-game comms. You need to get yourself a mic if you have one. If you don't have one, get one, and start calling out your CC. So the number one most important person to be calling things out is going to be your tank, right? So if you have like a Ymir on your team and he's got blink and freeze and you know their beads are down and he just jumps up, blinks in, freezes, and you go, I wasn't ready. Whose fault is it? The tank should be telling you, but you should be on point with this. Both of you should be communicating. So if you watch any of my streams, obviously when we play the lower level team, like the lower level games, we're not calling out everything. But if we get in a GM game, we're calling out everything. We have relic timers on cooldown. We have ultimate timers. We know when their ult's up. We know when their escape's down. I know when my teammates' stuns are coming. This is going to put you apart from 98% of the people that are playing this game mode because you know they're not in a Discord call calling everything out. Now, I know this is a luxury that not everyone has, but pretty much every Xbox and PS4 comes with a mic. If you have a PC, I highly recommend, if you're trying to get good at this game mode, invest in a mic, get in a Discord call, get in a TeamSpeak call, and make sure you are calling everything out. Start with small stuff, you know, your freezes, your knockups, your stuff, and then you want to be calling out everything. What's on cooldown? What's not on cooldown? Do they have a dash? Do they have level 12? Is their Aegis up? Do they get Aegis? Do you have Blink? These are all important things that you want to try to keep track of, and just start learning it slowly but surely. And even another thing, use the in-game chat. Type down relic timers. You know it's going to be 160 seconds, 180 seconds, whatever it may be. You know when it's going to come up. Type it down. Get someone who's good at math, and make sure you're keeping track of these things. It's going to help you out a ton, I promise. Okay, tip number 2 is going to be picks/bans. Now, there is 1,000 million ways to go about your picks and bans, so I'm just going to give you very bare bones, generic tips about this. So, if you are first pick, you are not banning the OP gods, and I can tell you this for 100% fact that you will never have to ban the broken gods in the game mode at a high level. You're not going to have to ban your Thoths, your Persephones, your Achilles, your Naja. You're not going to have to ban these gods because you're first pick. You get them. They are going to have to ban you out. So if you're first pick, make sure you're banning counter picks to the gods that you want. So what we usually do in Kicks and Bans is we pick 2 gods that we're looking for. Usually we like to play around me, so we're looking for Thoth, Persephone. Those are the 2 best mages, my favorite mages to play. And this is at a very high level, obviously. If we're in like a $1,000 tournament, this is what we're doing. Obviously, if I'm just queuing ranked Joust for fun, you don't have to do this every game. But anyways, pick 2 gods that are very top tier that you want to try to get. So if you don't like these gods, if you don't like Thoth, Persephone, you need to be banning them out unless you have an answer for them, which I can tell you right now, you probably don't, because no one does. These gods are very strong right now. There is ways to deal with them. I'm just saying, if you don't want to have to force a whole comp around it, ban these gods out and ban the counters. So let's say you like Achilles, or, okay, for example, you like Khepri. You really want to pick Khepri here. So you better be banning out Achilles every time, because if not, your revives are going to get executed and you're wasting a pick, right? So if I'm first pick, I'm banning counter picks. If I'm second pick and the other team gets first pick, I'm banning the broken garbage I don't want them getting. If you don't like facing Achilles, Naja, Thoth, Persephone, Scylla, these are the gods you want to be banning because you know they're first pick, they're going to get it. And remember, you get 2 picks after, so a lot of times you want to focus on them getting 1 god and you getting a good god that deals with them. You can't force them to pick it, but try to bait them into picking something that you can deal with. So that's a good way to go about your picks and bans. You know, pick the gods that you know you want, and then pick and ban the gods that counter the gods you're looking for. You want to try to find 1 or 2 gods the first pick, or first and second pick, that you really want on your team. Okay, slide number 1 is going to be put yourself in a position to snowball. So what does this mean? In the short terms, make sure your small leads are big leads. Make sure your little wins are huge wins. So if we get first blood right after the red buff fight, and it took a little bit, and we get first blood and they're really weak and they're going under their tower to back, what are we going to do? Fire's not up yet. We can't push this tower because it's too early. So what? Do we just back? We just say, oh, we got the pick. We leave. Sometimes that's the case. But what about checking their blue buff? What about checking their XP camps? If you're taking these small wins and turning them into big wins, this like small first blood gold lead might turn into a 1,000 lead and then a 2,000 lead. Make sure when you get a pick, you're not just backing off or looking for the small things. You want to make sure you deny them from everything. So if you're in their side of the jungle and you get a pick, maybe their buffs are down, but maybe you get a ward in their jungle. It's not all the time that you can get deep in their jungle and put a ward down. These are small wins that are going to help you get control of the map better, get control of their timers better. If you're invading that buff cooldown, that's not just 70 gold you're taking away from it starts to add up into 140, 220, not 210, I mean. You get what I'm saying. Once you get these small wins, make sure they evolve into big wins so you're pushing your lead. If you're just pushing your advantage, if you're just getting 1 kill at a time and then backing up, that's easy to come back from. No one who's lost 1 kill ever gives up. But if you lose kill, you lose your blue buff, you lose your speed buff, you lose all your XP camps, and then they get fire, that's when you're in a bad position. All right. So that's my list. I hope that this helped you guys in some sort of way. It's very difficult for me to come up with these sort of tips because I feel like most things should be common knowledge at this point. If you find any of these useful and or use them, definitely let me know in the comments. I really do appreciate it. And if you have some other tips, drop them down. If I like a few of them, I'll heart them so everyone can see. Thank you guys so much for the continued support, and I hope you are all excited for Season 8. It's been Trelli, guys. Peace.